and welcome to episode 26 of Snap on This, a Marvel Snap podcast. I'm your host, LaurenWhatevs. Two other hosts here. We're going to throw it over to Ben first because it's an even-numbered episode. So, Ben, how was your week in Snap? And keep it snappy.
Well, my week in Snap, endeavoring to keep it snappy as always, I gotta say it was pretty decent. I think I hit Infinite shortly after we recorded last week, and they spat me out at a nice high rank. Hashtag pod goals is mine to lose this month. So I just need to keep up with that. Been playing the deck from the deck in the square that I put out with last week's episode. I don't always put them out every week, but I had a deck that I liked last week, and I talked about it, so I put it in the square. It's been doing so well for me that I've played it in not one, but two of my Snap Judgments League matches, and it worked pretty well for me. Having a great time in the Snap Judgments League. I faced one of our listeners, and they were the most fun and the most sporting and very cool, and they know who they are. I'm not going to put them on blast, but yeah, it was a great time. So that's been going well. I'm loving that Scream deck that I mentioned. I have other decks that I've built in the past week, but they are arguably part of my secret homework. I will say that I did get around to playing both of the cards that I had not played last week, Sam Wilson and Joaquin Torres. I guess I can talk about the Joaquin list. It's a fairly straightforward bouncy thing. I ended up, the 12 cards I like there were the Hood, Silver Sable, Iceman, Nico Minoru, Toxin, Falcon, Grandmaster, Agent Venom, Sage, Hitmonkey, Joaquin Torres Falcon, and Beast. So those are 12 cards, and they do bounce stuff. And
Sounds
I
solid.
kind of dug them. Yep.
How did you like Joaquin specifically?
Not currently a card that anyone strictly needs to own. Like, you could make an equally or, like, situationally as good. Like, sometimes Joaquin is the card that will, like, put you over the top or whatever. Like there will be games that you win because Joaquin was there that you would have lost because Joaquin wasn't there. But you don't need Joaquin to build a good bounce deck or a good any other kind of deck, really. Joaquin is, as we'll discuss in a moment, in a similar spot, I would say, to Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. An interesting card that I would rather own than not own, but that, like, if your collection is in a less developed place, maybe this is not your first stop unless you have particularly, thought out,
if
kind of good. If you got ideas, if you got some things you want to try,
that's what you always say.
Then yeah. Well, that's because it's always true.
That's true. Yes. If you really want something, you should get it. Set your heart free. I don't know. Okay.
But other than that, my week in Snap, I've been living with regret. I got something wrong during last week's secret homework. Nightmare's Realm is the dream dimension. That's right. The obnoxious location that makes things expensive on turn 5. It's already in the game. I called it the Nightmare Dimension. Like an absolute, just, I don't know. Yeah. like a doofus. I'll say it. Like a doofus. I got it wrong. Other than that, Token Tuesday, we got a good one coming up. Although there are also there's at least one good gold variant, or gold bundle rather, that I'm aware of coming up. So, I mean, if you've got like a ton of gold, maybe don't buy the nice Token Tuesday. I don't know. That's up to you. You know your finances. I'm probably just going to get the nice Token Tuesday because I like the consistency and the predictability of getting the nice Token Tuesday every other week or so. And that's been my week in Snap.
Great. I don't know if you're talking about the Anti-Venom bundle. It is very good if you don't have Anti-Venom. It's like 5,000 gold and you get 3,000 credits, 3,000 tokens.
It's about your situation and also how you feel about acquiring cards that you don't have the base art version of. I kind of hate that as a method of card acquisition because you are just picking the pocket of your future self, which is a thing I try not to do. But yeah, it's up to you. It's one path, and I mean, anti-venom's pretty cool. I don't have anti-venom. That's like why I was like looking at it, thinking about it. What are my priorities? I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get that bundle though. I'll get anti-venom when I get anti-venom. Dang it. Probably with tokens when I really need him. Who knows?
All right, great. And we'll go to our other host, Ree. How was your weekend, Snap? And keep it snappy.
Oh my god. Okay, so if you listened to our outro last week, you know, it was at my biannual board game retreat. So it was lighter in Snap than normal for me. I did get my get Infinite, which I usually just try to take care of week 1, but it was boring because I just finished it out with Meekocalypse because I could just ride a vampire into victory in my sleep. So I came back. I kind of was like gone. I wasn't thinking as much about Snap. I was just doing missions and whatever. And I came on and was like, Ray Character Mastery is here. Character Mastery. I'm like, oh shit. And I opened it up and it reminded me like their little like exciting like screen of like seeing the character level up and all the rewards.
They were trying to recapture that magic for sure. I also picked up on that with the voice line, Mastery, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's very frame break, you know? Yeah.
So seeing it, it reminded me of like when I first found like erotic fan fiction in study hall in the library. Because it was like, what? Oh my god. And where and why? And it was really exciting. And then like you fast forward and then they decided it would be fun for you to have to click through every single character that you own. Which most of us that play the game a lot will do in succession because we just, you know,
get it
having that thing undone in our games.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it became so uninteresting. It was like now, it was like early days of the internet versus like now when you're just like, just let me order my sadness tacos without like anime hentai game at like hardcore porn like right in my face. It's like, this is too much second dinner. Like, I didn't need all this. No, thank you.
Did either of you time it or keep track of how long it took?
Oh, of how long
to go through every character?
From the time that I started paying attention, it took 10 minutes. But I only started paying attention after it became clear that I should pay attention to how long this was taking me.
I believe you, because I kept going back to check and it would still say 99 plus. And I was like, no, surely we are under 100. Surely.
I'm not saying like you could, maybe you could speed run it. Like if you were a little more business-like about it than I was, maybe I was dawdling, smelling some roses, dilly-dallying and shilly-shallying. I don't know. But I think I was honestly like pretty point A to point B about it. And it took a very long time.
Right. Me too. At first I was looking and I'm like, ooh, new flares, new finishes. And now it's just like, you know, just our generation has been traumatized. Too much. It's too much. We don't need it all.
An ink split again. Exciting
we don't
stuff.
need the bananas. No, it is cool to see new things. I've already faced mini discard decks of all rays and destroy decks of all rays. Usually it's the rays. I assume, I haven't checked, but I'm assuming because you get the rays early in Mastery.
Yeah.
So they're available for all the characters.
Yeah, they're the most common flare. They're the most common new flare, I think. They're at the most common tier. And so they take up like 6 out of the 8 spots in the most common. Whenever you split something, you have a very high chance of getting rays. What I'm trying to say. But you're right, they're also low level. So yeah, like any character you've got some mastery on, good chance you got rays.
Yeah, but it makes me feel like OG cool, though, right? Because it's like, oh, all the new kids running around with their all-raised decks. look at my your discard versus my discard. Look at everything I gold and inked, like with crackle. Like it's so impressive looking. I'm just like, just look upon my wealth of splits.
I mean, like, I
That's
love
old split
that
money.
my existing splits will become status symbols or whatever, but also, like, is this an improve? I don't know. I think that a lot of the new stuff looks. This is a matter of personal taste. I think a lot of it looks tacky. If you're into it, I don't mean to yuck your yum or whatevs.
You already did it. I'm already into it.
I know that a lot of people. I don't know about a lot of people. I know that a few people are big fans of this new feature, and their feelings are valid.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people having fun with it, so I agree. Like, I don't want to shit on that. And I also don't want to shit on how much work went into this feature, especially after, like, it was canceled and they brought it back specifically because of player demand. Like, those are great things. But
well, they brought it back specifically because of player demand, but, like, you understand that, like, that the thing they've delivered is good for them, right? Like, they want to make it harder to get desirable splits so that you throw more money. Like, this wasn't some big favor to the players. They're just squeezing more money out of us.
No, it's not prism or foil. It's more ways to make your deck look unique. You know what I mean? Whereas before it was like, you were just seeing a demonstration of length of game time or whatever by seeing someone's all ink or all gold crackle. And I think
and this is how many variants they've purchased. A much more meaningful thing to measure.
Will definitely lead to TTP, but like also is worthwhile. Okay.
I personally think almost all of them are ugly. I've noticed, and I'm sure it's partially because it's a brand new feature. So first of all, it's exciting and people are playing with it. And second of all, people haven't done that many splits yet. But almost every like custom card I'm seeing with new stuff is using either just finish or just flare, not a combo. I'm very curious to see how that changes over time. Like once people are actually doing splits and getting combos, are there combos that they like, or are they still going to be sticking with just finish or flare? Like, that's something I'm interested in. There are some things that I think are cool. There's like a storm flare and a storm finish and makes it look like a stormy sky. And like I have like Valkyrie flying on Aragorn, her Pegasus, and like making it look like, you know, a stormy sky instead of beautiful pink sunset is like, it's kind of interesting, but like the chances of getting storm flare and storm finish are super low. There's 1,215 split combos now.
I was so surprised to see Storm was like my most character mastery. I'm like, I guess
that's
just
everybody.
A million
Me too.
variants for Storm.
Storm, Deadpool, Thor, Iron Man.
I mean, I think isn't the rarity of the variant, doesn't that have something to do with the mastery experience? And we all have that. We had the hero music video Storm.
Ultimate.
That's like, yeah, exactly. That's my only ultimate.
True. Also,
so that's probably why it's so high.
Storm is kind of a queen of variants. So, like,
oh no, for sure, she's sit
on the top of all those lists. Storm,
just great everything. Storm's the best. I'll go on the record. I'm a Storm fan.
Yeah, it's also event, conquest, and season pass variants are like at the second highest tier of XP.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, the cards who have tons of those, they don't just have tons of variants, they have tons of, you know, variants worth 125 XP. So yeah, I think everybody had those cards near the top. I don't know. I agree. It's nice to mix up Rainbow Foil and Prism. It's nice to mix up, you know, Glimmer and Tone Flare. But I think most of the new finishes and flares are at that level. And we got very few, if any, at the level of Ink, Golden Crackle. And I'm trying to be subjective. Or I'm trying to be...
Objective?
I mean, it is subjective. I'm trying to be... I don't know. I'm trying to realize that there's like a recency bias or like you know, I've had months and months or years of thinking that those are like the premium split effects, right? So I'm trying to... I guess it is...
Yeah.
Subjectively objective. I don't know.
Gold looks terrible, though, in my opinion, on so many cards. So, like, I think it's just, like, the rarity.
Well, and I think color is so much more interesting than ink. And even though the ink effect is cool and it's impressive when you see somebody with a fully inked deck, I personally...
something is definitely lost. I totally get... I know I'm ruining the cards by making them all black and white.
Yeah.
I'm quite aware that making it monochrome is... I'm a monster.
I mean, it's a great look on some cards, and it's like, it can be really cool with, like, a white crackle or whatever, right? Like, there are some beautiful splits out there, but generally speaking, base finish is my favorite. And still, I don't think that the new finishes, for the most part, compare with ink and gold finish. Like, there are some that are cool. The gold metallic is kind of cool. Black prism's all right on the right card. Like, there are some that I like. But mostly, I just think they're junky and, like, I don't know, fire and water. They don't look very high quality. I'm like, why? How many characters do I want a fire background on, or a water background? Like, or let's talk about the flare. Like, there's like snowflake flare. Like, how many characters is that relevant for? I just
That's
or the low hanging fruit, bananas that are fucking everywhere. The Banananing. They're way too common.
Ugh.
All for a
lot
pun.
of bananas, to be honest.
And, like, it's gonna be almost exclusively, like, fucking racist creeps, right? Like, using these effects. Like, I don't know about almost bananas. Exclusively.
I've seen concerns that people are going to use bananas on black characters.
Oh.
Yeah, think about the kind of people that we run into with the title combinations with the names and
certain names, like, or alliance names.
We've all seen some gross stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's
I'm
taking it, even that extreme is
yeah,
I mean, it's a problem. But even if we ignore a problem like that, which we shouldn't just brush off a problem like that, like Second Dinner should have thought about this. I saw people express this concern when bananas were very first teased. Like, really, is nobody over there paying attention? I just, like, how many cards do you want bananas on besides Hitmonkey? Like,
yeah.
I had the thought the other day when I was splitting my collection. I split 9 Valkyries, and, like, 2 of them had bananas and a bunch of them had rays. And I was like, would I want to show this to somebody and be like, look at this cool new card I got? Or even, look at this game I'm playing. I love this game. Like, they just made Snap so much less cool.
Being directly punished earlier for saying, give the players more tools to express themselves with. And it's like, no, but why is the internet so horrible?
Yeah, we've met the players.
I mean, but a lot of them are cool people.
No, a lot of them are cool
my fellow
people.
Co-hosts.
It's true.
And
also our listeners. Oh my gosh, we got the best listeners in the biz. It's not just a thing I say, it's a firmly held belief.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Character mastery ruined. Dun, dun, dun. Okay.
I'm very interested to see what happens with it, right? Like, I think a lot of the initial backlash is just that, like, it's a big change and people hate change. Gamers hate change. Like, but I don't know. Do we see it? Do we see things reworked in the next year? I hope so.
Certainly
improved upon.
I think that the whales are going to still whale hard, splitting 1 million times. I think this will be a huge success for Second Dinner or whoever. Like, you know what? I've decided. I don't know. I've been. This has been bouncing around in my skull for a while. I'm like, I don't know. What if we can still blame everything on Newverse? It's so much fun to blame everything on Newverse, right? So I'm debuting my new acronym here. It's MOMS. Don't blame your moms. Moms are trying hard and doing their best. But you can blame MOMS, makers of Marvel Snap, the completely anonymized and fucking vagified, like... I don't know who's responsible for this problem with our game, but I'm blaming it on the makers of Marvel Snap. So, yeah, I'm sure this will make the makers of Marvel Snap lots of money because the whales will split hard now that they've diluted the split pool and made it impossible to get what you want, like, without an extreme expenditure. And that's what they'll do. And, yeah, it's going to be a triumph fiscally or whatever.
Okay. Before we go past character mastery, did either of you have anybody at level 30?
No.
No.
I had like Storm at 22.
Yeah, Storm being my highest is tell of me not having that.
I had Falk at 30.
Renee was up there.
I planned for that. I had 9 splits ready to go, and I got level 30 on like the 7th split. I am loving my new reaction set. She's cute. I was gonna go for Captain Marvel also, but her reaction set, she's wearing the red skin tight mask, and I don't like how it looks.
Yeah.
So I'm giving up on Captain Marvel. I don't know if I'll chase any others. Like that's another thing that's like kind of weird. Like level 30, like the reaction set's a cool prize, but you can only use one at a time. And the golden diamonds are like tacky. What'd you say, Ree?
Oh, I just said I don't do a lot of moding, so my drive to get to level 30, if that's the only reward.
I'm like, what kind of incentive?
Greatly reduced.
No, thank you.
I would love to see some other things on there. Like I've seen ideas like a second or third custom card being things that you unlock along the way.
Oh, that'd be sick.
I also saw like a token to like choose a split. And it's like, I can see that being something they wouldn't want to do, but also like,
but why wouldn't they want to do it? Only because they are like, why wouldn't give out a custom split token?
No,
right?
the way they don't want to do that is because they never want to give you a way to directly pay for the thing you want. That's why booster exist.
No,
they want you to have to pay over and over again for a chance to get the thing you want.
I still think they should and could, and it would be a great look for them, but they're not interested in what would be a great look for them. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I'm so depressed. Can we move?
Yes. Absolutely. That's enough character mastery. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about in your week?
No, I wish I had thought of a cool way to transition to you, Lauren.
Oh, it's all good. How about this? I also would have liked to talk about character mastery, so it's it's a perfectly appropriate place to fit that conversation. I got Joaquin Torres with tokens kind of last second. I did get it in time to get the weekend mission tokens. He's fine. Mostly I got him because I just like cards that do silly things, and I'm like, someday I could see this card being used in a clip, used for some fun, silly combo.
Hood, so
I do also love the hood and Nico. There's reasonable. I had fun. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about Joaquin. I also just barely today or yesterday picked up Ajax with tokens. I've had him pinned forever, and I don't know.
Oh, you got Ajax?
Yeah, I haven't played with it yet, even though I like Affliction. But I saw friends talking about Sanctum Showdown, and somebody mentioned that speed would be good. And I was like, speed has been in a lot of decks lately, and I don't have speed. Do I unpin Ajax and let it switch over to speed? And I was like, you know what? Let's just get Ajax. He's not in the Datamines is coming anytime soon. Pull the trigger on him. So I'm going to let that go to speed and then leave speed pinned for an indeterminate amount of time. But speed is coming, according to the Datamines, coming in April. Okay. I knocked out my infinite run pretty quickly and easily compared to last month. And I know there's been all this talk about are bots rarer or are they getting harder or whatever? But I saw a lot of bots.
I also saw a ton of bots, just a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because of how early I did my run. That's a trend I've noticed in the past is the first few days, there's a lot more bots than there are even the second half of the first week. And I think it's just because they're trying to, get people to infinite where there's, in infinite, you can only match with other players in infinite. So they need people there in order to, for that matchmaking. I don't know. And, they need to inject lots of cubes into the economy early on. Yeah. I've been continuing to play my silly, maybe not so silly Cersei Valkyrie deck. Chase got an infinity ticket with it. I've seen a lot of people playing it actually and having fun with it.
Shenanigans.
So it is an extremely fun deck. I still think it's probably like mid-tier on goodness, but it is really like
We
super
love
fun.
mid-tier fun decks.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, let's move on to Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, briefly mentioned. Did you get him? And what do you think? And I should read off his ability. What do they call him? They don't always call him Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, do they? Is it Thunderbolt Ross?
I hope.
Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross.
Okay. Yes, but it would be amazing if he insisted on the full, full every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. He's a 2/2. When your opponent ends a turn with unspent energy, draw a card with 10 or more power. Take it away, one of you.
Go first.
Did
Ben.
either of you get Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross?
Yes.
I did not.
Oh, for a second I thought we all did. Lauren, you really your face was saying, yes, I absolutely got Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, and then your words disappointed me. Okay. Well, I got Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. I think maybe it's just the absurd like resource wealth making me like lose my judgment and whatever.
Making bad decisions, huh?
No, but like this is an interesting card. I come from other card games where drawing cards is more common and more exciting and just like a thing that we all love to do all the time. So like habitually I'm just like I'm trained to think that like drawing cards, whoa! Even though, you know, like Marvel Snap is a very different game with like different stuff that you need to focus on doing. And I mean, drawing cards is always great. Drawing cards will never not be good. But yeah, this is like a very soft draw. Like your opponent has to let the thing happen, and then you have to have the right cards. And I'm not saying this is not a good card. This is like sort of Thaddeus is fine, but like I've seen him in a lot of Surtur decks that I didn't think he was actually making better. That's what I've been seeing when I play against Thaddeus Ross. I played Thaddeus Ross in my secret homework deck that I can't go into too much detail about right now. But he does the thing. He does draw the cards. That's pretty cool. Again, I did find myself maybe wishing that I was playing something else on the games when I was playing Thaddeus on 2. There were more games than I would have expected where it was I found myself playing Thaddeus on 3 or 4 to draw a card. And, it's a cool card. I'm sure there'll be like a combo deck that like really needs Thaddeus Ross to like dig the stuff out. And like that's what he does sort of in Scar decks. He digs Scar out. But yeah, I could see him having more homes in the future, but this is a completely inessential, very Joaquin Torres card. You know, like if you like the cut of his jib, pull the trig, but like don't feel like you are missing out on a ton of fun or a ton of practicality if you say no to this mustachioed man. That's my Thunderbolt Ross thoughts.
Oh man, so going into this week, I did not know for sure if I was going to get him, but I was like, I was high on him. It was late at night. I was looking at that Nebula variant, and I have like a lot of Nebula variants that are good, but I love Nebula. I just played my Nebula deck from Marvel Champions, and I was like, surely I will just roll this and I'll one key it, and maybe we get ourselves a Nebula. And hopefully we avoid the blink, because I have Magic Carpet Blink, which would be superior to all other blinks, past and future. So I rolled, and it took me 4 keys. I took it this card. I don't know how much I'm going to end up playing, to be honest, in the long run.
At least you got the Nebula. It is a fabulous Nebula.
Oh,
It is
so
a good
good.
Nebula.
And
I also got the Nebula.
Ink with green crackle. I am looking at my split right now. It is so glorious. Okay. It's hard to be mad because I was looking last night and I was like, Ray, you need to play some fucking Ross for the podcast. You got him. Be able to talk about him. So I'm looking at like, Chibi, Rian Gonzalez, I assume it looks like your style, Chibi in the store, and I'm like, well, this will help. And I was like, no, Ria, that doesn't count. Buying a variant does not count as podcast prep. So we did end up with the variant, though, and it did make it way more fun to play.
Did you buy it before you played him?
Yeah. This is what I do. I scrimp my gold so much. I scrimped so hard. And then one day I don't know. We were too good for too long.
It's a fifth of a card or something. I don't know.
This is so funny looking.
Not
his
quite.
Little face.
1,500 gold is a fifth of a Series 5 card in the way that I think of it with tokens and stuff. I don't know. 1,200 gold is, it's fine. I don't know.
It's fine. It's worth it. I got to play it. It was so fun.
I saw the same variant, and I also thought, I can't afford. I've got a lot of resources, and this is a very good variant. Like the thoughts, it strolled across my mind. I get it.
But I chased my happiness, Ben.
Yes, you did.
Lesson. Okay. So
Unlikely.
I didn't have time to put together my own deck. So I went and grabbed, and I think this might be our friend. There's some careless grabbing going on. I think this is our friend Philip J. Woodward's deck. And I feel like it is modeled on our also friend of the podcast, Chase's old Big Green Giants deck, right? Feels familiar to that deck. I played many iterations of that deck. Huh?
Oh, I was just... Toxic Green Giants, I think, is the name of the deck. I could be wrong.
Yes, credit to Chase. Toxic Green Giants.
But he's made lots of iterations, and they're not always toxic, but they're always green, and they're always giant, right? So it's an evolving deck, of course. Anyway... So this was like a fun way. Okay, because here's the thing. I get why people put it in inserter decks and stuff, but it's like, did you need to draw a bunch more cards there? But here, it's paired with the Hulks. So like you're really capitalizing, and with high Evo, right? With Hulk, you're really capitalizing on Thaddeus's ability, right, to get the red Hulk up and stuff. So it's kind of like it's not just about drawing cards. It's like synergistic with these specific cards. And this is such a fun. Okay, I find this really fun because Hazmat's in it with no Luke Cage or anything like that. Hazmat's in for Abomination because it's a high Evo deck. But the idea is you're just playing some big, giant old cards. So you get your cheap Hazmat. And early on, if you've got cards out, it's just like Sunspot for the energy soak, Nebula, because she's still great, Misty Knight, who's going to buff your other cards. So you don't have, and then Thaddeus, Magic, you have Moon Girl. So you don't have a lot of early cards out, and people are filling stuff up. People are putting out those arrows. They're like, doing all that stuff. I played this deck against a balance deck, and I was always like, how can I time my Hazmat to get the max, nonsensory of their stuff, just to make them unhappy. But, I think I've already mentioned, so Red Hulk, She-Hulk are in the deck. Magic, I had speculated that, Ross could replace Magic, but I was wrong there. They are united in victory together. Because if you're trying to skip energy, if you're trying to get your opponent to skip energy, you want that extra turn. Making a 7-turn game is the
way to do it, for sure.
Yes, yeah. Especially if you're like doubling up a She-Hulk to like skip a turn and soak some energy into Sunspot. And it was really fun. I haven't played, I haven't played this style of deck in a while, and I almost never play Hazmat. And, this Nebula variant deserves all the love. So anyway, it was a really fun deck to play around with. And I beat a bounce deck for a gold ticket with it.
I remembered one more exciting point in Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross's favor, and that is his very fun animation. A little crate gets airdropped in containing your big card. It reminds me very much of supply drops in the two-dimensional tactics whatever game Worms. I don't know if y'all ever played any of the Worms games.
I've played a lot of Worms, yeah.
Things would fall from the sky, potent, very silly weaponry, and you'd be like, well, I better make it over to that crate that fell out of the sky. There might be a sheep in there or some shit. Perhaps
Holy hand grenade.
A banana bomb to really tie everything all the way together. Yep. All right. So, yeah, I just love his animation. It's very fun. Reminds me of Worms.
Yeah, I think, it's been 2 days, but from like the rhetoric I've seen and just the reception and all that, I think I was probably too high on him. He's probably a 3 out of 4, not a 4 out of 4. Like a good card, but not a huge upgrade and very situational, which I did at least, assume that. I always assumed he was going to be quite niche. Anyway,
I took a bit of a flyer or whatever. I think I'm using that term right on the deck in a square for last week's episode. I was like, well, I think Thaddeus is going to be bad, so I described him as baddiest Blunderbolt washed on the deck in a square. And I was like, well, one out of 3 of us thinks this is true, and so I'm just going to go ahead with it. I thought it was more compelling,
All right, next week's card, Redwing, a 3/3. The first time this moves, add a card from your hand to the old location. I will say there was recently a team answer from Glenn where he talked about this design being really popular in testing with the team. And so they moved it up to Redwing.
Not with old, it was old Redwing. Yeah, that's right.
They made it sound like it was a different card that had this ability. And they moved it up to Redwing because the team was loving this ability so much. Why are they loving this ability so much? I have no idea. Maybe it's just a fun card, kind of like how Cersei, like just that, like the randomness is fun.
That's so validating because I'm pretty convinced I'm going to get it. And it's like, why? I don't really play move decks. No, like, how does this card make sense? But it's like my Joaquin Torres Falcon. It's like, there's something about this card. It's another Emperor Hulkling, which I do not regret. And
I just love that it's a
Baron Zemo.
Okay, are you passing on it, Ben?
I'm gonna get this card for sure. Are you kidding? It's like it does an interesting thing. Says move on it. Honestly, I just get all the interesting cards, even the ones that don't say move on them. But if they say move on them, I have to get them.
You have to.
Yeah, this card does, however, like from a game winning sort of like quality standpoint, I don't have high expectations or even hopes for this one. Like this one seems like perhaps kind of a stinker. Like all the ways in which it, I just think it's going to be clunky as all get out.
Okay, but Ben will finally have a reason to play Aranya again. I missed her.
No, we still have reasons to play Aranya, I promise.
No, not for fun though.
My secret homework deck is definitely fun. And I play Aranya in there.
Okay, I will have a reason to play Aranya again. I'm hype. Plus, there's going to be a ton of cute variants.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get Redwing just because I think it's a cool character. And yeah, maybe the ability will turn out to be something cool. I was very low on it when we evaluated cards, and I'm still pretty low on it. I don't get it, but I'm here for fun. The Spotlight friends are Baron Zemo and Loki. Baron Zemo's, both season pass cards previously. Yeah, Baron Zemo's critical and mill, and is also just a good tempo card, which might be something worth considering if you are interested in Sanctum Showdown. Sanctum, tempo cards are going to be great there.
3/5 is a good stat line, and usually.
Yeah, if you're a low collection level player and you are just looking for cards that are good, in a vacuum, or that would be good. I'm always looking at cards and being that would be really great in limited. Baron Zemo would be really great in limited, and is really great if you have a limited collection. So Yeah, get him. That's what I think.
Yeah. Loki's super fun and is still good. It's certainly fallen from grace from when he spent, 6 months as the best card in the game.
This is not the time to acquire Loki. If you don't have Loki yet, keep waiting. He's going to drop
very
Series
narrow
3.
in
That's
utility. Yeah, I think you are.
Or is he Series 5 now? He's definitely dropping when they do the thing.
He's so narrow in usage. I don't fear him like I once did.
Yeah, not at all.
His best days
It's like
are
just
behind
try
him.
and discard your next few pickups better than me. Got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like, RSM can't play him on 1 anymore.
Right.
He doesn't give you a card draw.
I'm this old RSM.
Like, Loki's still very cool. It's something you can do with your King Atri, but yeah, I don't know how good he is anymore.
Yeah, I think if the argument could be made, Loki's a very popular character. They're not going to let Loki stay bad. I think that makes a lot of sense. But you know what? I bet they're just going to make a different version of Loki. If they want Loki to be good in the future, they'll sell you a second Loki. So don't buy this one.
Something.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Moving on. There was a patch on Tuesday. It came with character mastery that we already talked about. You can favorite albums now. I favorited the 4 I'm chasing, and it makes it so that when those variants show up in your shop, instead of having the little book icon, they have a little star icon. I've had 5 in the last 3 days. So I don't know if they changed the algorithm. I don't know if they're looking at my favorites or if I've just been very lucky.
I could believe either thing. I'd assume coincidence until a better pattern can be established.
Yeah, ditto. It's a very small data set, but I mean, I've been looking for the baby cards forever. I can't remember the last time one showed up, and then I got baby Nightcrawler.
Oh.
So who knows?
I should do that then.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's mostly just makes it really clear to scan your shop for the stars, and also have some discipline. I'm not going to buy the ones that don't have stars, unless it's
Smart.
for a character I love.
Love
Okay,
stars.
yeah. Just today, I bought. Who was it? Good question. I think it was. What's the album that gives you Negasonic? Is it Flaviano?
Yeah, that's Flaviano.
I bought Flaviano Tribunal today. Spent 1,200 gold, and I got 3,000 tokens out of it. So
Nice.
good trade off.
That's
However
a
many
good one.
tokens you get. Yeah. All right. The other thing, of course, Datamines. We in the patch notes and in the Datamines, we learned more about the Sanctum Showdown mode. I think we'll wait to talk about that more when it's closer. But we also got updates on March cards and April cards, and we're going to talk about those. Okay. First up, Agamotto, the season pass next month for 1 million BC. A 5/10 now. At the start of the game, shuffles, I can't remember what the word is now. It's arcane arts into your deck, 4 of them. There it is. Shuffle 4 ancient arcana into your deck. Okay. And then we got 2 cards with a bunch of tokens, and I think that they are hard to understand through spoken content. I don't know. I just don't follow them the same way when I hear other people talk about them. So I'm sorry if that affects you too. But here are the 4 arcane arts. There's a 3/0 Bolts of Balthak. Looks like a guy shooting Agamotto shooting blue lasers. On reveal, next turn you get +4 energy. Banish this. So we're getting cards that we're getting a 3rd zone after destroyed and discarded. In fact, you can already see it in the game if you tap on your opponent or yourself. You can see a banished category. Presumably, it's just exiled, it's just out of the game.
Yeah, remove the game.
I don't know. Do we want to talk about? Should we just go through the spells one by one? What do you think about this art in particular?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Let's talk about the arts, and then we'll talk about Agamotto once we've covered them all. Okay. So 3/0 on reveal. Next turn, you get +4 energy. I think this one's interesting. It's you're spending 3 energy to get 4 energy.
You have to draw this out of your deck.
It does cost you a draw, yeah. But it does let you do a big play early, like a combo play, or like
That's true.
Get a 6 cost out early.
You'll have 8 energy on turn 4 if you play this on turn 3. And there are things you can do with 8 energy, but it's a whole draw, and it doesn't even stick around with a little Psylocke body on the board to contest a lane or anything. This is a nothing card.
But that's why it's good that it's getting banished, I think, with the low power. You don't want it clogging up your board.
One point in its favor. It does not waste space.
Yeah, I think this is the worst one. But
it's a ramp card. It's a good, you know what I mean? If your whole goal is just to play more big power cards, it's not bad.
Yeah. But the thing is, you're only getting one extra. You're still like getting a Psylocke sized helping of extra. And like, it's just to have to draw a card to get like
another benefit of these is like losing. What if you want to lose prio? What if that's somehow beneficial to you because you're trying to pull off some like Arnim Zola stuff or whatever? I don't know. So like
this card will definitely lose you prio. That's true.
I'm just saying, if you build for it, that could be an advantage. Sometimes you want to lose prio.
Yeah, this isn't terribly unlike playing Sarah on turn 5. If you play this on turn 6, then you still have 2 energy left over on turn 5. Or sorry, if you play this on turn 5.
But the thing is, Sarah makes more than 1 energy. This card makes exactly 1 energy for you.
No, it makes 4 energy.
Yeah, but it costs 3, and like you get like Sarah at least like you pay in 5. And then on turn 6, you might be getting like 4 extra energy out of that if you play like
this is 4 extra energy.
That's true, but like
if you play Bolt of Balthak and a 2/4, it's the same as Sarah discounting you 4 cards. Like
but
I don't think it's automatically just +1 energy.
I guess maybe I'm oversimplifying on that point.
I see what you're saying. You're spending 3 energy to get 4, but like,
and to make your deck larger, to play with a 16 card deck just so you can have this.
I mean, yeah, I don't think this is the one. But
like playing with a 16 card deck is like not advisable.
Going into turn 6 with 10 energy, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, skipping turn 5 though,
this card, right? Like,
or skipping most of turn 5.
Else.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Let's put it in context. What are these other arcane arts? I'm more enthusiastic about them, that's for sure.
Images of Icon, a 4/0. On reveal, transform your other cards here into copies of the highest power one. Banish this. This is very good.
It's fun. I like cards that are fun.
It will situationally be very good. Yes, I'm a little concerned about how consistent it might be, and like when exactly are you planning to play this? Are we playing this on turn 6? And if so, how are we winning the other lanes? Is the card that we're transforming everybody into Miss Marvel in the middle or something? Like what? Like how does this win the other lanes? Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's a valid concern. It definitely, to me, feels a lot like Cersei, transforming your other cards,
Another
but
way
in a
to get rid of
predictable
the
way.
hood.
My squirrel's not turning into a 2 cost. My squirrel's turning into Coal Obsidian. Or the hood is an excellent example. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but I definitely think there are combos where that's going to be great.
I do want to make
now that
3 Miss Marvels.
yeah. Now that Agamotto is 5, you can play Agamotto on 5 and Images of Icon on 6 to turn everything into Agamotto.
And when we say everything, we mean 2 other things.
Yeah. And you have to have those bodies there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I need cheap cards.
Temporal
It's a lot of
manipulation.
investment all in the same lane. I don't know.
It is.
That's my last thought.
You are heavily invested for sure. Temporal manipulation. A 1/0. On reveal, give Agamotto +3 power. Put him into your hand if he's not in play. That deck thinning is good after you added 4 cards to your deck.
Yeah.
Also, it's great if you happen to discard him or something, so cute.
It's better than Thanos, right? Than
like that's what this is for. Like if Agamotto's been destroyed or discarded or is still in your deck.
I didn't even think about the destroyed or discarded. That's cool.
But I assume if he's banished, you can't get him back. I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe that's the power of temporal manipulation. It's such that you can even get back a banished Agamotto. Who knows? Yeah, this one's interesting at least. And I like that it draws you a card in exchange for making your deck huge. I mean, like, it draws you a card if Agamotto is in your deck, rather, I should say. It sometimes draws you a card, so that's cool.
Yeah. And I think most decks can spare 1 energy at some point, right? Makes it very flexible.
And I mean, it's a 1/3. Like, that's fine.
Yeah. Next, Winds of Watoomb, a 2/0. On reveal, afflict an enemy card here with -5 power and move it right. Banish this.
That's the best one.
I love a 2/5. Yeah, a 2/5 move card. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing is, you need something that has 5 or more power. Don't you?
No.
Oh no, you can make it negative. What am I thinking?
Make it negative.
I know how cards work. I'm just like I don't know. It's been a hell of a week, folks.
Understood.
Yeah, Winds of Watoomb. I think this is the most exciting one. Honestly, like this would be. I'm surprised they took it down from 3 to 2. Like this didn't actually have this text before, did it? This is like new text. The way these
remember. I don't think any of them had text.
The spells did not have text before. The way they've been laid out in the datamines that we're looking at, like it makes it seem like we already knew what the abilities were, but we did not. But yeah, I'm saying I would have paid 3 for this effect and not felt stupid about it. But if they're offering it to me for 2, yeah, I'm excited. I think Winds of Watoomb is the one to beat. A 2/5, like a 2/5 Stegron. That's what this is, right?
Can I answer your question about how do you win the game when one lane is so invested in with images of Icon? With
Galactus.
Winds of Watoomb? No, with Winds of Watoomb. You can play both of them on turn 6.
I suppose. I mean, Winds of Watoomb moves one thing to the right, and Images of Icon makes one of your lanes really strong. I can see how playing both of these on turn 6 would sometimes win you the game, but I don't see how it's like
all right, 5 power is not a lane winner. Okay.
I'm excited for Agamotto, though, and I'm glad he's the season pass because he's another of those cards, like when Thanos first came out, it's just like, oh, here's it's all these cards in one. There'll be new decks to build with it and things to try, and everyone's gonna want him, I think. Probably.
Yeah, so many synergies because of the different spells.
For all my skepticism of Bolts of Balthak, this version of Agamotto with more details and like actual spells and stuff, way more exciting to me than vanilla Hulk Agamotto, who all we knew was that he shuffled stuff into your deck and made it bad. So this is better information. Some of these spells are good. And that's a very exciting card. I also like that he's 5. I'm rooting for 5 cost cards. I don't really play them, but like I wish we lived in a world where more of them were worth playing. And this is exciting for me. Good for the game. That's what I say.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a fun season pass card. I'm personally interpreting it that you just always get these 4. But it's possible that because I think there were 5 spells.
Wasn't there a 5th one? I thought there was a 5th one.
Yeah,
that we just don't see here.
Right, and so the question is, do you get 4 out of the 5, or did they just cut the 5th one?
Good question.
I think 4 out of the 5 is kind of weird, but also keeps it kind of interesting. Like you don't know which one you missed. All the spells synergize with Ravonna. That's awesome.
Oh, Ravonna, yes, please, anywhere but negative.
Yeah, very happy about that.
Yeah, that
also,
is cool.
All synergize with King Atri.
Negative?
Yes, and then also negative.
I also like King Atri.
Although they all get banished at the end of the turn, so like you're not like keeping those juicy stats, really.
No, but negative and Jane let you draw them all.
But yes, being able to draw and play them for free is
you still get to do lots of cool stuff for free, even if you don't get to keep their power.
Although, do you want to flip Agamotto himself? I mean, like, I guess he just becomes High Evo, the card that you don't actually want to play, you know?
Yeah.
But then temporal manipulation becomes very bad.
I don't know how much you want to play Agamotto anyway. I mean, 513 is good, but if you don't get the temporal manipulation, 510 is meh. Okay.
Yeah.
The first week spotlight card, Isan, which was absolutely ridiculous before, has had the ability and power changed. A 6/9. This is a celestial. After each turn, put a card from your hand that didn't start in your deck here. So,
I like this.
Sorry, go ahead. It's Arasham synergy and Agamotto synergy, I guess.
I mean, it's card generation stuff. I mean, this is a 6/9, so like, I don't know how many times you're expecting to proc this after each turn
At
business.
At least once, right? For a 6/9. Also, I like this a lot because to rehash our old conversation, not to rehash it, to summarize it quickly, putting legendary in a card makes it sound like a new mechanic where you can only have one legendary card per deck, which will then which means it's an unbalanced card, which means then you'll feel obligated to have a legendary card in every deck, and we didn't like that direction. So removal of that. Great. It was way too OP. Of course, I'll give cards different powers to give them a +2. I'll do that backwards and forwards everywhere. So this is good. And this is an interesting puzzle because when I looked at that first two, I'm like, what? Do you have to play Magic to proc it at all? And I'm like, well, you always get one. And then, you know what I mean? You're obviously probably trying to ramp it, of which there are many ways to do now, right? We have so many ways to get extra energy. So like I'm into the intriguing, what deck do I want to build with it? Which is what I want to see when I look at a card text, to be honest, is to be intrigued.
My first thought was Wiccan. That's where I think this card goes.
Wiccan.
Wiccan can play lots of good card generation things on its way to playing Wiccan, and then you play this and start vomiting forth all your generated stuff.
Yeah.
Wave lets you get 3 procs with this also.
True. Wave.
We don't see a lot of Wave anymore, but Wave is good with this card.
Yeah, I like Wave with this. That's a very good observation. I
agree with you, Ree, that this one is more interesting. Like the deck building puzzle for the old one was also interesting, but I think also there's a good chance it would have just been solved and it just became the best deck in the game because it gets
too easy to be top of the meta. Yeah,
ridiculous. Yeah, and then you get to finish with a 6/15. Like, I'm fine with the legendary word that limits it to 1 card per deck, but the ability itself.
Lauren, I'm not nearly so open-minded on that point.
You don't like legendary either, huh?
Nope. I think it means that everyone has to play 1 legendary in their deck until the end of time once we introduce that keyword.
Oh, you're right about that. I remember you saying that the first time. Yeah, I don't like that deck building restriction. Okay. You're right. Starbrand had a big change. The next one, if I can find him.
Finally, a Sauron card.
A Sauron card. We've been asking for it. It's the first Sauron card since Sauron launched.
It's almost like they realized that they were shooting Ares in the foot by having a future starter Scar card that distinctly did not care for Ares. In addition to Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, they're just like, we really don't want you playing this guy in this deck, even though it's where he belongs.
Okay, Starbrand is now a 3/10, which is very big. With the ongoing ability, your opponent has +3 power at each other location.
So functionally
immediately launch Surtur Sauron decks. That's what it's for. Surtur Sauron.
You can Enchantress it. You can zero it. Like, there's other things you can do.
This is a zero card. It's been so long since we had one. I forgot.
We take out armor. We put in 0. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm saying, like, I wish I feel like Sauron is going to be married to Surtur, and that makes me sad. Huh?
I feel like maybe we need to keep
I never played armor in my Sauron decks because I hated the Enter synergy.
Oh, you hate stripping her of the ongoing.
You know what I played instead? Silk. Give my deck some reach, and this was when Silk was better. That's how long it's been since I played Sauron.
This card will make the most fun bar with no name scams, with Legion.
Yes, it will.
Oh my gosh.
That's too good.
I love a new Legion scam.
Galactus follow-up. There are no other locations.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Although I don't think it's going to overtake the other options for Galactus follow-ups. I think
Alliance is still better.
Yeah.
I also think there are decks where you can just focus 2 locations, and so he's okay. He's fine giving 1 location plus 3 power. Now he's a 3/7, right? If there's 1 location you don't care about anyway.
Look at it, yeah.
And then the second location, you can go really big in 1 location, so big that it doesn't matter. You know, like it's your Iron Man location or something, and it doesn't, or your Shuri location. Like, it doesn't matter how much effort your opponent puts into it. You're winning that lane, even if you gave them 3 extra power. So I think there's actually a lot you can do with the Starbrand. I think he's way more interesting.
I think that like throwing one of the lanes is not like we all have to do it sometimes and stuff, but like I don't think it's the most winningest way to play Marvel Snap is by like abandoning a lane hard. I think that the most winningest way to play Marvel Snap is by contesting all 3. And I don't know. I'm skeptical of.
I feel like as I've gotten better at the game, I'm doing more of abandoning a lane.
Well, no, but like you got to threaten all of them at least.
Yeah.
Like otherwise, like if you're just I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Firehair is next.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I was excited because of course I'm getting a card whose name is Firehair. I'm not even familiar.
Yeah, right. Okay. The old Firehair was very cool. She could move, and every time you did it, revived a destroyed card. But I love this new one. 2/3 Firehair. She's the original Phoenix Force, or at least the first Phoenix Force host on Earth.
Oh,
when one of your cards is destroyed, this uses that card's on reveal. So cool.
You think it's limited to once?
No way.
No.
This is every single time you destroy a card. Which, first up, I think is disgusting.
Like what you just play with Misery, right?
I know.
Mill Misery is awful. Yeah. But there's so much fun stuff you can do with this.
Okay. All right. Yes, I agree. It's so fun.
It just seems busted to me. I liked the other design more personally, which might also have been busted. I don't know.
That's because the other one moves.
Well, but also it was like more interesting. Like we don't have a ton of resurrection effects. You know, we got your Hellas and your Ghost Riders.
No.
And like I just think this would be cool.
This is also. Did you see how interested me and Lauren are? That means
it's not a resurrection. It's just a.
It's just sort of a resurrection. It's not the power, but if you destroy Hela or whatever, then I mean, I guess you can't delay it in the same way you could with the other one, where you move her multiple turns later.
Yeah, I mean, like I like both of these card designs. These are both good card designs. I'll miss the old one. Is all I'm saying.
Can I? Okay,
it may never come back.
You like Grandmaster letting you play on reveal on 2 different locations? This is another way to play an on reveal on 2 different locations. That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah,
there's
destroying
cool
is not the easiest way to do it.
I mean, with Misery, it super is. Misery
yes.
This is like
definitely
bonkers.
The favorite synergy is Misery and Firehair, but I just think she looks so fun. Okay, and then the last one, Khonshu. I don't know if you two have noticed.
So did we talk about what she would do in Destroy with like Carnage and Venom and stuff? Like if you eat your Carnage, like she'll Carnage off in her lane.
Yep.
You know, like
and then proc those abilities too, like a chain reaction.
Yeah, like I can see this like being cool with like Nimrod and stuff or something.
Yeah, but it's a whole different deck build because your cheap cards. I play decent. I play just some Destroy now and again. And your cheap cards there are mostly like X-23, getting you energy, you know, doing all that stuff. So like they're not. And with her, you really want to like stuff you want to repeat, right? You want those on reveals.
I mean, X-23 is actually a good synergy with her. Like,
yeah,
your
like,
X-23 and your Wolverine split up. You can eat one of them, and then Firehair takes care of the other one.
If we're doing like Carnage Venom chains with like the regenerating characters already on the board,
okay, but if you need to destroy your destroy cards like that, there's X amount of room in your deck to put in destroy cards, and now you're going to have to mostly fill it with, and then you're going to get awkward hands where you don't have the right. I'm just saying I've played a lot of destroy, and it's a delicate balance. So it'll be
you're right. It's not super.
Okay.
Carnaging a hood is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. I like this. I think there's something with some destroy
she's cool
elements.
for sure.
I don't know about
into
classic destroy, but like I think something with a bunch of symbiotes and fire hair is going to be legit.
Okay, I love saying fire hair, but we have to talk about Khonshu's.
You should be excited about this card too. This is Moon Knight's bestie.
I know, that's
I
what
don't know
I'm
about
saying.
you, Ben, but Ree is excited about this. Okay, starts as a 6/5. When discarded, returns in its next phase. And then on reveal, resurrect a card you discarded to another location with its power set to 5. But if you discard Khonshu first, he comes back as Khonshu Waxing with 6/7, the same ability. Then the card he resurrects gets 7 power. If you discard him one more time, he comes back as Khonshu Full 6/12 and sets the resurrected card to 12 power. I don't know if you two have noticed, but the logo changes with each version of the card.
Oh,
a yellow
I
crescent
didn't
moon
pay
and a
attention
glowy-
to that. The moon? Oh, that's even better. I'm so hyped for this. This is so fun. It's a fun little quest.
Two of the faces
okay, fine.
have like
Go
the
ahead
same
and be sad about it, then.
moon.
No, you're right. Waxing should be more full.
Couldn't we just like get? Yeah, come on.
But anyway, cool detail.
Okay, am I allowed to be excited about it again yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Pop off on it.
Yes, Moon Knight also, this, like, can't be banned for Black Cat, right? Oh. And plus, like, look, you don't even mind in a regular discard deck. Like, a lot of times when you're playing discard, you're holding stuff in your hand because maybe you got an off mix of stuff you want to discard and things you don't like. It's like, I don't want to discard the Colleen Wing because what if I draw Score next turn? And there's Grandmaster, or maybe I just want to discard it later with Meek on the board. So there's all this stuff. But, like, this one, this one, it's like, oh, go ahead and play that blade on that Colleen Wing because you're going to bring that Colleen Wing back later, discard your Scorn again, maybe with Khonshu. I don't even play, Moon Knight's not in Meekocalypse right now. I miss Moon Knight. I want more reasons to play him. I want a reason to play Black Cat. Like, this is a very exciting card for me. I think a must for all discard players, right?
Maybe. I love my friends Dracula and Apocalypse, and I wonder how Khonshu plays with them. And I think he doesn't.
He doesn't. New style of discard. Very exciting.
Yeah, I think he replaces Apocalypse in some decks.
Right? But never Scorn. Scorn's so good. Sorry.
I did notice that the Khonshu Full doesn't have any text that brings him back if you discard him. So you should not discard him a third time.
Unless you got a Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Just a big old reaction chain, resurrection chain, which I think is cool.
Little
Either Ghost Rider brings back Khonshu, or Khonshu brings back Ghost Rider.
I think maybe we've glossed over that is important to keep in mind. The card that you resurrect is guaranteed to resurrect at a location other than where you played Khonshu.
That should be a pro, right? You were just talking about how going wide.
That's a huge pro. Like this is like how have we not celebrated this yet? This is very cool.
So you discard him twice. He's a 6/24 split across 2 locations. That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
2 more cards associated with 1 million BC that we don't know how we're going to get. They're not spotlight cards. They're bonus cards from a limited time mode or something. One of them is Fan Fei, who I believe is an Iron Fist. Do we not have stats on? But activate.
Fan Fei is still a... Yeah.
Okay. No stats yet on Fan Fei, but has text. Activate. Move your other cards here away.
Love it.
Very cool.
Yeah, seems like a bad Madam Web. I guess it lets you time out a whole chain mousetrap reaction.
you don't have control, but you can blast away 3 cards at once.
I mean, you kind of have control. You know what happens when you play Fanfei on the left is that you guarantee there's room to Heimdall.
Oh, good call. Yeah, some Heimdall fun.
So like this is like uncontrollable, but like only kind of. I still like it better than Hercules for purposes of controlling where your cards go.
Yeah, it seems fun anyway. And then the first Ghost Rider, this card, a 2/6. On reveal, discard the lowest power card for your hand. Remove that card's power from this.
Hell yeah, goblins.
The goblins are just freaking stupid with this.
A little love for Selene, or Selene, as they call her in Hades too. I'm growing to favor that pronunciation just so that I can have consistent sounds in my life.
Assuming discarding a negative power card gives you power, which is, like how Lasher works, then the Hobgoblin makes this a 2/14, which is stupid.
Yeah, seems fair, right? Yep, very cool.
It almost makes me think it won't work because that's so dumb.
Yeah, I know. I had the same thought. I was like, are they... That's too good. Like, they understand that, Hobgoblin is -8 now, is that right? Or is it -9?
Yeah, it's -8. Yeah.
-8 right now. Yeah, 2/14 is probably a little beyond the pale, but I'm not sure they know that. I don't know.
Yeah. But targeted discard's good. Colleen Wing's ability certainly sees use, and it's very similar to that. If you're discarding, say, I don't know, Morbius or Gore or Iron Man, then you don't get the penalty. And yeah, I don't know. Cool card,
but strong guy somewhere.
It just seems it's way too good. It's a hard problem because they could lower the power, right? Make it a 2/4 or whatever, but then you can only use it with negative power cards. So I don't know if that one will survive, except it's, March season next month. So these are probably very near final.
Do you think maybe it ever makes it just as targeted discard in Hela to get Iron Man out?
Yeah, or Gore.
Yeah.
And it has more power than Colleen Wing. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too good.
Yep. Okay. The next season, April season, is What If, and I'm so excited. This is, I don't know, to me this is almost like a Runaway season or a Spider-Man season where I just want all the cards because I like the characters. I like the theme.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
So I don't even care if these aren't cool abilities, but they are.
Oh, but they are.
Season Pass. Captain Carter. A 4/2 with the ongoing ability. Your other cards in the back row here gain this card's power.
Introduction of back row.
Yeah, I think the row stuff is cool.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm not sure I don't think it's cool, but I'm not sure I think it's cool.
Making sequencing important, I'm a fan of. Which, I mean, it already is in so many ways, right?
I like sequencing within a turn. I think that's good. Or even sequencing across turns a little bit, but I don't know. You are really... it's such a big commitment to say that this card only matters if we're absolutely packing the lane. And I don't know. I haven't had long enough to... These are cards that are news to us, and I haven't crystallized my thoughts here, but I'm a little skeptical of the back row mechanic in general, and we see it somewhere else on one of these cards, right?
Yeah, Dum Dum Dugan looks at the front row. Let's just talk about him real quick. I believe he's a bonus card. He's not one of the spotlights. 2/2 ongoing. Your cards in the front row have +1 power.
Front row here.
Yes, thank you. Front row here. That's important.
I was down on the card when I first saw, because I saw this before Captain Carter, and I'm like, what? This is what you're going to do with a 2-drop? How it doesn't really feel worth doubling up with Moonstone in comparison to other things you're trying to do. But I'm like, hey, I mean, you're definitely putting 2 cards down there, even if he's one of them. And he's a 2/4, which is like pretty standard rate. So then if you can get that in with some other effects, like, once again, just going straight to Spectrum, probably.
And one thing one thing that I like about Dum Dum Dugan is that, like, do we have a 2-cost ongoing whose thing is like having pretty decent stats, right? Like,
no, yeah.
This sort of fills in a niche that I wish there were already. I like. Is this the 2-cost ongoing for these times that we need?
No,
is this the
wait
hero
for Goliath?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's interesting that the 2-cost needs to be in the back. Well, actually, he doesn't need to be in the back row, does he?
No, he
I think
target
he
himself.
Could be one of
most often
yes,
he will be one of the front row cards.
Yeah, he can hit himself.
He's a 2/3 already.
Captain Carter says your other cards. So if she's in the back row, she doesn't buff herself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little awkward. You need to play a 4 in the front row.
Yeah, that's very awkward.
But if you play her with...
Do you think they'll change it? I think they'll change it. I think that's like so unfun.
They might, because she's the season pass.
Change it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But it is strong. If you can do it with Captain America or a Spectrum, her ability stacks up really fast.
Yeah. Agree.
I'm with you, though.
There are a million ways to like hand buff her or whatever,
Yeah.
Obviously, she'll go great with Galacta.
Yeah. The first week spotlight for that is Goliath, who I already mentioned. A 2/1 ongoing.
Hell yeah.
+1 power for each other ongoing you have in play. That's just a big boy.
That's what's up.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, it's going to be a must get unless you just hate ongoing or whatever.
In Spectrum, he's like a 2/8, 2/9. It's a big card.
And I love it because what I love about ongoing decks is you get to play Cosmo. So many people are on revealing stuff, and Cosmo being able to defend your own stuff from Enchantress and Rogue, which are, Rogue, honestly, I think I see more than Enchantress these days, but like until this card comes out, then everyone will be playing. But like, it's like Cosmo is such a good card that you usually you never play because you're doing all your own on reveal stuff and like literally any other deck than ongoing. It's like, okay,
you are just like talking to me about my secret homework deck. We'll come back to it.
Spoilers.
But I can't participate in this discussion because all I would say are things about secret homework.
Ongoing has such good tech, like because you get that Madam Web in there, and then you're even able to move your Cosmo around, and then you're going to buff it all up with
Mobius,
Spectrum, right? So I'm excited, but it still struggled with power, right? Like, so this is exciting for it for fans of for Spectrum wishers and hopers.
And I love scaling. I love small scalers, and like I also feel very bad for the ongoing synergy because all of its payoffs are like kind of clunky. Like Spectrum is just iffy. Just the premise I'm skeptical of. Like Onslaught is just like so local to his lane, and like Moonstone is the same in that regard. I want there to be more ongoing cards that are just like, hell yeah, we're playing a lot of ongoings around here, and it's gonna be the death of you, like that. I like those simple like synergies where it's like, hey, you're leaning in, right? We're doing a lot of on reveals, we're doing a lot of ongoings, we're moving all the cards, are like I just like it when all the things you might do are like their individual effects are cool, but at least we're all still contributing to the, like the ongoing thing that we're all doing together, even though all the ongoing decks could have different specifics. I like a good, simple reward. And I also like 2-cost cards. It's my favorite cost. So yeah, I think. I mean, 3's great too. 2s and 3s. 2s and 3s are the best cards. So Goliath is checking a lot of boxes for me.
All right, the next one, a 4/6 on reveal. This Kahori, she's like an indigenous American woman with I don't know. She's got like blue cosmic powers. She's very cool.
Yep.
She's original to the What If series.
First appearance, season 2 of What If.
Yeah. On reveal, for each card in your hand, give a friendly card +1 power.
I love buff cards.
She's a buff card that hits the board.
I like this for the same reason that I liked Goliath, in that it echoes the effect of another sort of synergistic reward. Like, this is very much, in the Devil Dinosaur vein, but it's like smaller, and you can play it in the same deck as Devil Dinosaur, and it does like a slightly different, it rewards you for the same thing in a slightly different way, in much the same way that Goliath is to Spectrum. Yeah.
Oh, it'll make Dino feel great.
Yeah. I'm rooting for Devil Dinosaur. It was never part of, I played it a little bit in early series, but I think other people played it more, and I just want them to have their Dino back, do Dino stuff again.
The main synergy that came to mind for me is Sebastian Shaw. Is this a separate buff for every single card? Because if it is, you play only Sebastian Shaw on 3, nothing else on your board. And then you play Kahori on 4, and Sebastian Shaw's 19 power.
I think it does count each one. That's what I think.
That's big.
Yep.
That's like, that's not the combo you rely on, because you have to draw, 2 of your cards in your first, like, what is it, 7 or 8 draws. But when you do get it, you go for it, because that's so big.
It's a good synergy, because like if you're trying not to play anything till Shaw on 3, then you're gonna have cards in your hand.
That's true.
Yeah, he's your only target, and you have more cards in hand.
I'm a little skeptical of the premise, but I think that'll be a cool thing when it happens. I'm not sure it's built around, but it's cool. It's definitely
but
cool.
If you're doing a hand buff deck and Shaw's there anyway, because we like Shaw getting hit by Gwenpool.
He's very much the reason for the hand buff season. I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine that deck's full game plan start to finish, but that doesn't mean there isn't one. It just means I haven't imagined it, or I cannot conceive of it at the moment.
Yeah. She seems harder to use than like a Gwenpool or Galacta.
That's my read, yeah.
But she's fun.
And I like the character. I liked that episode of What If, and yeah.
Yes, I'm so glad to see these characters here. Okay, the next one is Infinity Ultron, and y'all are going to have to bear with me because this is going to be even harder to get through than Agamotto. Infinity Ultron, a 5/6. On reveal, add 2 Ultron Infinity Stones to your hand. I thought I saw the stones with stats somewhere.
I thought I did too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forget they're not in the show notes. That are my response.
That's okay. Okay. Should we... Let's go retrieve those. Okay. We have tracked down the stats for the Ultron Infinity Stones. We also checked, and Fanfei has stats. So we thought about... I thought we would talk about those real quick. Fanfei, the Iron Fist with the activate move cards here away, is a 4/7. Ben?
I think that's pretty cool. I think that's exciting. I like a good 4-cost general purpose move, like a general move effect on a 4-cost card. Very neato. We don't have any of those that are good. That's my editorializing. I'm like, I don't know.
Are there 4 costs that move your own cards?
No.
Yeah, there's Stegron, but all right.
Stegron's great, but that's a different thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, going on to Infinity Ultron. As a reminder, even though you all just heard it, a 5/6 on reveal, add 2 Ultron Infinity Stones to your hand. The first one, the Space Stone, is a 3/4. It's very different from Thanos' stones. On reveal, move the lowest power enemy card here to Infinity Ultron's location.
When we say that they're very different from Thanos' stones, it's worth noting that all of these stones cost 3. So, the anticipated plan for your Ultron is you play Ultron on 5, and then you play 2 stones.
Yeah, that's helpful for sure.
Yeah, where's Surfer? Man, this is exciting because I missed out on Thanos. Like, Thanos came out before Spotlights. Remember with and he was a big bad, so he was like a ton of tokens, and I missed out.
Yeah, I think he debuted in the token shop.
Yeah, so like, and I didn't get him for so long. Like, I missed all of the time that he was like really good.
Yeah.
And so now this will be fun to play with, and it's like Surfer synergy, which is always a good time.
I mean, it's Surfer synergy if you weren't planning on playing Surfer on turn 6.
You could play one of the stones and Surfer.
I mean, like, is this Magic Surfer? Maybe this is Magic Surfer.
Ooh,
I'm a little skeptical of the premise, but
okay,
that's
but
just
what
my
if you have a
story of the episode.
Redwing
Ben is skeptical of the premise. Goodness
that
gracious.
you move. So you play your Surfer, and then Redwing, and then it pulls the other whatever card that pulls the card from your deck and play.
How are you moving your Redwing?
Around.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to say that's a better answer than I was like. I'm excited to hear how he gets there, but no, that's a great answer.
I didn't make that up as I went at all. Totally thought out.
The Space Stone does not seem very good. Move the lowest power enemy card to Infinity Ultron. Like, what was Infinity Ultron, a 5/6? Like, so he's not a powerhouse. And it's not super influential to move the lowest power card, with the exception of if you're playing like goblins. But you didn't play Hobgoblin because he's a 5.
Is a 3 cost, also Surfer card.
Are you saying
Sorry,
like
I keep
Redwing?
pitching the most memey deck. No, I mean, like, okay, if you have Hercules and you put it in the Ultron,
then you move a card and it doesn't move.
Also,
no, but then it'll bounce off the Hercules. Okay, yeah.
I know we probably like this. We already mentioned what Redwing's text is, but like it only works the first time. So like Hercules is not a Redwing friend in any way.
I honestly don't. I talk about Hercules vastly more than I play Hercules.
I think that's true of literally everyone.
Talking about Hercules on the podcast than playing.
Yeah, everybody thinks he sounds fun and interesting, but
no, yeah.
Do you actually make time for him? Let's just go on to the next stone. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry,
it's always
Wombat.
Combat.
I knew when I said the thing I said. I'm sorry. Hercules is fine for those who enjoy that sort of thing.
Ultron Reality Stone 3/1. Add a token here. I don't know what it is. Set its power. Oh, it's a drone. Add a drone here. Set its power to Infinity Ultrons. You got to play this with hand buff, right? Like otherwise, this is a 3/7, which is fine.
3/7 is fine, except that you played a 5/6 to generate it.
Yep, and it takes up 2 spots on your board.
Yeah. Oh, geez. In that case, the 3/7 might not even be. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, you're playing it on the last turn, but
this one seems real iffy to me. I hope I'm sure they'll have another look at these stones. I assume these are going to get changed, but this version of this stone is not great, is my take.
Hey, mine's a 3/9 because of Surfer.
Yeah.
Sorry, how can you not just see this and not want to build Surfer decks?
Very easy. 3 costs. I look at so many other cards and I would rather build Surfer decks with them. Like so many other cards. I see 4 cost cards and I'm like, oh, that goes in Surfer. I see 2 cost cards. I'm like, oh, that goes in Surfer.
You see
these Infinity Stones do not say Surfer to me.
It's amazing how much we both love Surfer, but like we surf very differently.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Surf styles.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
My Surfer style is closer to Reese, but I have enjoyed many of them.
Are you more of a vert or a street surfer?
Okay. Ultron Time Stone. The green stone. a 3/1. Put a card from your hand here on reveal. That seems easier to do than Redwing.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I have to say, this is the best of the stones we've seen so far. It's my opinion.
Yeah, there's some good stuff you can do with that. Okay.
Maybe that's the one you play to pull your surfer.
That's how you play
sorry,
surfer. You use time stone to get out the other stone that got generated, and then you surf them.
I know, I'm
Very
sorry.
good.
Stop bringing up surfer every single card.
Okay. Ultron Mind Stone. The yellow one, a 3/2. Ongoing. Your on-reveal abilities here happen twice. It's a 3/2 Wong.
I love a Wong that shows up 1/3 of the time.
Only play it on the last turn.
Great plan. Real build-around stuff.
Hey, but if you get this out and then the Time Stone, you get to pull 2 cards from your hand.
That's true.
This is strong. It's expensive. This whole card is very expensive.
I think it's going to fundamentally change before it releases. I think we're speculating about a card that is just not going to happen like this.
I think a lot of the abilities will stay similar, but I would expect that the costs will go down because otherwise it's just a very hard card to play.
This game plan of playing a 5 to generate 2-3 costs for turn, I think it's flawed.
Yeah, it's yucky. Okay, his Power Stone on reveal, double Infinity Ultron's power.
Another point for the hand buff angle.
Yeah, that one's also good if you get that one and the drone generator. But yeah, your chances of that are slim.
And also it's great with the Wong Stone, you know.
Yeah.
Or if you're going all in on like a Wong Black Panther combo, like it turns Infinity Ultron into another, Black Panther basically for you.
Mm-hmm. But you have no guarantee that you're going to pull that stone. I guess if you Wong the Ultron, then you get twice as many stones. Do you have the hand space?
True.
Ultron Soul Stone, the orange one, if that helps you. It helps me a lot to at least kind of picture it. Or at least have something to, I don't know, hang my hat on. On reveal, for each full location you have, give a friendly card there +2 power.
So it might be a 3/9 sometimes.
Yeah, it's a 3/3 as a base. That's good.
Oh, that's true. That's very
filling
important.
Your stuff up.
Clear up.
Yep. That's all of them.
This is great.
Everyone
is so it's doubleable.
I want to play with Surfer. I'm gonna surf so hard when this comes out.
Ultron Surfer. You heard it here first, folks.
I think he's super fun, and the concept is great, but the costs are just not there.
They're gonna move them all to 2, and my Surfer dreams would be dashed.
I think that's probably that. I won't say that's probably what's going to happen, but I think that is one of the leading possibilities.
I bet they'll try that and keeping Infinity Ultron at 5 because that keeps the concept alive. Like, is this like last second clutch thing that he comes in and saves the day?
Also, I like that they're pushing these like ambitious 5s.
Yeah.
I think that's neato. I'm not going to play them because they cost 5, but like I like having them around.
Yeah, seems very clunky in its current state. Okay. Next up, Strange Supreme. Find him. A 2/0. Give this +2 power whenever it merges. After each turn, merge one of your cards that didn't start in your deck into this.
Very flavorful.
Yes.
So fun.
The flavor is excellent. My reading
is all hell.
Yeah. My reading is
you can write the What If episode based on this text box.
Yes, it's very good. It seems like a very fun card. I think I've seen people misunderstand the box. My interpretation is it can pull any of your cards that are on the board that didn't start in your deck. Right? That's what it means by your cards. It's not pulling them from your deck or from your hand. Like
I was wondering if it was specifically here or if it's anywhere on the board, but
it doesn't say here.
But that doesn't mean they don't mean here. Like, do you remember when I raised the point about Cap's shield and its ongoing ability, where the last sentence of it is not an ongoing effect? Mm-hmm. Like, they never changed that. Like, that one made it to print like that. So, like, I think that sometimes they don't say exactly what they mean.
if you want to talk about it being top down, it's way more interesting if he's warping something in from another location.
That's true. It is more interesting, and I hope that's what they mean. I just don't trust their clarity. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Okay,
this would be the first card that merges with a card that's not at the same location, because even Clintar and the church, they are like, even those merge effects are all local to one spot.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be super fun, though. I'm rooting for merge cards. I always want to play more Agony and stuff. That'll be a must-have. Okay. I would sacrifice other cards this season for it.
Do with this? Like, he can clean up junk. That's cool, I guess.
I mean, goes with Penny Parker, right?
If he does indeed reach into other locations to steal those cards, Squirrel Girl for sure, right?
Yeah, eating 2 squirrels leaves him as a 2/6.
And it fills 2 of your turns to, like, because you want to generate, like, what, 4 things for him to eat, right? He needs to eat on turn 3. It's unlikely you'll be able to eat on turn 2 unless you play Sam Wilson. If you eat on Sam Wilson, Strange Supreme will eat on turn 2.
You could play Squirrel Girl 1, Strange Supreme on 2.
Yeah. Or Squirrel Girl 1. Like, that's why Squirrel Girl is so cool, because she gets out in front of Strange Supreme. Whereas, like, I think most of the other cards you'll be able to generate are coming down on turn 3 or later.
Right. It feels like another Wiccan, as just like you were saying earlier, somewhere where you're generating a lot, you know, like your Maria Hills and stuff for him to gobble up.
Goes well with Kate, even though those arrows are so, you know, good and fun.
Right. Yeah.
But, like, I was thinking that too. From the basic arrow, right?
Yeah.
Unclear.
I mean, I would assume so, right?
Yeah, and you could
basic
conditionally
arrow happens, like, before anything.
Yeah, you would.
Some planning to get, like, what, the Pim arrow, the ongoing one, to get that buff.
Well, it depends.
Yeah, and if the Pim arrow is the last card in the lane, it will be boosted when it gets eaten.
Yes, but the basic arrow, if he eats it the turn you play it, then no. I love that we're calling it eating. Anyway, yeah, I totally, like, this is a card kind of like Firehair, where there's, like, so much you can do with it that it's kind of like overwhelming, but it's a very cool ability. But when it's overwhelming like that and cool, that doesn't automatically mean it's good. But I think this will be good.
Also, can we all just, like, appreciate how patient I've been with this very exciting Strange Supreme because of the cards that are coming up next? I mean, like, this is a very interesting card, but, like, we're burying the lead here.
Recognized. Okay, the last spotlight card of the season, the Hydra Stomper, a 3/1 ongoing +1 power for each card you moved this game.
Hell yeah! Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this exact ongoing ability. Oh my gosh, it's Move Morbius! It's Move Morbius! I love it! Oh my god, I'm so excited. Hydra Stomper, not my favorite episode of What If. Really don't give too many cares about.
Yeah, this is the character I care least about.
Yep. But this effect. Ooh, baby, Move Morbius. I love it.
Can I rain on your parade a little bit? Morbius says each time you discarded a card. This does not say each time you moved a card.
That's true. So you're thinking that each card only counts once for each move?
Yep. Regardless of how many times you moved it, each card only counts once. Now, that said, you could mix this in, like, a Scream deck, and I think it would count cards you moved that are your opponent's cards.
Mm-hmm. Spider-Man is given this card +2. That's what I think. Yeah, dang. This is a very exciting card.
And like, you know, Heimdall's a ton of power for this card.
And also, again, we don't know that the text is actually, like, you know, word, like, they made...
You're right.
They're not always great at expressing their thoughts about what they want a card to do.
It would be very cool if it was every time a card moved.
And I'm not convinced for sure that it isn't. I mean, like, honestly, I think either way, this is just the coolest. I love it.
Okay. I'm very happy for you. This is So
There's only one card that rivals my excitement. So let's get.
I might
let's
actually skip that card, Hydra Stomper.
What?
It might be the only one I skip that week.
Oh, I thought you meant we were about to skip this next card. That
Is
rivals
Topaz
my
the one you're
Like,
so excited
why?
about?
Hell yeah, it's Topaz.
Okay, I was like, is there another bonus card I'm missing? Okay, but we already talked about Dum Dum Dugan. 3/4 Topaz. This is like Grandmaster's little buddy, right?
Yeah.
Or big buddy. After you play a card here, move it to the middle location, which is evocative of Grandmaster's ability.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me what you envision for this, because this, I don't get it.
Oh, this is very cool. You know, there's that new location, the Rivals one, where you play a card here and then it moves.
Yeah, Spider Island.
Yeah, or like, you know what else I like? I like Asteroid M. I like moving cards for free right when you play them. Like, it's very cool. You play Kraven in the middle because you already want to play Kraven in the middle, and just throw cards throw Vulture into the middle, throw Dagger into the middle, throw Spider-Man 2099 into the middle. Who gives a shit? This is awesome.
Okay, yeah, that is actually a real card for 2099.
Yeah.
Right, let's play it.
And you know what the cool thing about throwing cards into the middle is? You can Heimdall them.
Yeah.
This card is awesome.
Right.
I love it. This
I
probably goes in a
agree.
move surfer deck.
More
You
excited
put
than
Vulture
for
in
Hydra
here,
Stomper.
Dagger. Yeah. I'm psyched on Topaz. Like, this is who Hercules thinks he is. Hercules thinks he's Topaz.
Hercules wishes.
Yeah. Like, Topaz is a very controlled effect. Like, this is very good. I love this card. Very exciting. Oh my goodness.
Okay. That's all of them. We made it through all of the new Datamined cards. Okay, just in time for us to talk about today's OTA. Y'all ready? Okay, first up, Doom 2099. Wonder if it's the same one that was leaked in the Portuguese version. Yeah, so last OTA, the Portuguese like patch notes didn't cut out Hela or Doom 2099. They had stuff in there. And Glenn answered and said, like, for every OTA, or maybe for most, I don't know, they often prep extra cards and then cut some of them last second, depending on how the meta goes and all that. Okay, Doom 2099, the Daddy Doom goes from 4-2 to 4-3, and the baby Doom, the Doombot 2099s go from 4-2 to 4-1. I hate this change.
I do too. You know what
really?
Doom 2099 needed? He needed to be harder to Red Guardian.
Yep,
Jeezy
that's
Pete's.
exactly the problem.
Right off with this one. Oh my gosh. Makers of Marvel Snap, do better.
Hopefully it'll still weaken it a good deal, because I am getting annoyed with it.
Yeah, it is less power.
Yes, it is marginally less power.
Yep. But I don't. He's so hard to stop. And yeah, Red Guardian's kind of the only way to do it, and this just made it so much harder to do.
And so, like, usually, how many Doombots are you looking at? You're usually looking at 3 Doombot 2099s, right? If you played Doom 2099 on 4, you're getting 3 of them. So you've traded the power.
So this is 2 less power?
This is -2 power in exchange for making it harder to Red Guardian. And I think, I don't love that trade. As a person playing against Doom 2099 exclusively,
It could be that the Red Guardian argument is the same as the Shang-Chi argument.
No, I'm sure it is. Like, this card is definitely worse than it was before this OTA. I just think that, like, as far as changes go, it's not
it doesn't
substantial
feel
enough.
Good how hard it is to counter Doom 2099.
No.
Okay, Wiccan. Oh wow, 4-7 to 4-6. Took a hit, which doesn't surprise me. He's been excellent.
Very fair.
Thoughts?
I just agree.
Doesn't
with
change
what
anything.
they
I'm
said.
still playing Wiccan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wiccan is not leaving anytime soon on this account.
Okay, Surtur goes from 3-4 to a 3-5, and can only be buffed twice per game. It's the first time we've seen the twice per game text. So he's capped at 311.
That's fine.
Kind of good, because I mostly am just in the camp of this was a card I didn't play, but I play against. So like get nerfed on.
But the thing is, the 3/5 floor, like now this card is just a really easy 3/8, like a really easy 3/8, like probably easier than speed 3/8, like probably I don't know. And easier than speed 3/7 is not important or interesting, but easier than speed 3/8 is, because like these 1 points do matter.
I don't know how often he procced more than twice, but if you got everything on curve in a Surtur Scar deck, he'd proc 4 times.
Yeah, if everything goes just exactly as you would like it.
So his ceiling is definitely down. Scorpion goes from 2/2 to 2/3.
Hell yeah. Love it. Love it.
I am excited that Scorpion's in my Spider Bay deck, which also has the next card Sunspot in it. I'm like, time to dust it off.
Oh, this one's definitely got my eye. Sunspot 1/0 to 1/1. I played so much Sunspot.
We had nothing else to say about Scorpion?
What else do you want to say about Scorpion's 1 power?
I think this card is like now like super duper primo. That extra 1 power like makes a big difference. Like a 2/3 that totally zaps their entire hand. I love it. I think we're all going to be playing Scorpion this week.
He might just be a good card instead of.
I think Scorpion is good cards.
Yeah, instead of needing. I agree. Synergy. That's
especially
a good point.
The way that it's a counter to the Scar deck. It's just the Scorpion is primo right now. Is my feeling.
Okay, Sunspot 1/0 to 1/1. I'm glad for it. Fair. I have played hardly any Sunspot. You never see him anywhere except for Haivo.
Hell, throw him to 1/2. I don't give a shit.
Hey, it was in the Thunderbolt Ross deck I played earlier, so like great time for Sunspot to get a buff.
Yeah, Sunspot
is a card timing that I never play, but that I want to be good. You know, for the health of the game and stuff.
You see a lot of play.
Yeah,
because you'd be like, a lot of times you don't get a lot of energy, so you soak it up, and then you just fell by the wayside.
I would just love to wonder if I should play Sunspot in this deck, and that never happens.
Yeah, fair.
But it could.
When they originally nerfed him, though, he was kind of just in every deck. Like
no, but that was like a zillion years ago. That was so far back.
Right, it was. Sarah, 5/4 to 5/5. I say about damn time.
Hell yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's my feeling as well.
Sarah.
She's been on the list for a long time of cards where just like 1 more power is not gonna cause a problem.
Just another old terror. There was a time where Sarah was in all, because it's like, why wouldn't you just want to play a whole bunch of cards? And turn 6 are cheap, and she's just not around that much anymore.
I'm still probably going to lean on Hope Summers for all of my acceleration needs, as I generally do, just because she is the move accelerator. Like, and I just love that Angela gameplay. Play a card here, put it somewhere else,
Very good.
But 5/5 Sarah, improvement, healthy, good.
Adam Warlock goes from 5/5 to 2/0, and also picks up the additional text. If you're not winning the location, he gets +1 power. So if you're winning the location, draw a card. If you're not winning it, +1 power.
Good change.
Do we want to read the explanation on this change? Because this seems like does this seem like the biggest change? No, people still won't play this card.
No, this card is still like unplayable.
Really glad.
Or maybe not unplayable, but like, you know what I mean.
He goes in Bast. You know how many decks run Bast?
Yes. A card whose usage is extremely narrow, but
Agent Venom maybe
broader than it was a day ago, I will say.
So much more playable at a 2 cost. Definitely.
I agree. You can.
I like that he's just a little tiny growing threat. If you're losing the location, he gives you 1 power there. Okay.
Yeah.
that's the OTA. That's it.
Yeah.
Another light one that I don't expect to affect the meta very much. You would think Doom 2099 will, but I doubt it.
I think that Scar and Scorpion are the more impactful changes. I think Doom 2099 still lives in all the places it lived before.
Yeah, but I think you're discounting a little bit, because a lot of times when I was facing it, I'm getting multiple Doom bots, on a location, which means more than just one power off of every location. And then a couple power, just like 2-3 power can be the difference in plenty of games. So
true.
Maybe we'll see. I'm hopeful.
Absolutely. It'll hurt his win rate. I just don't think it's going to hurt his play rate.
Doom was a 420 before, right? Like, approximately. So, like, a 418, I don't know. Seems below rate to me.
On to our side quests. We've got secret homework, our weekly secret homework, our weekly challenge. This week, I assigned the homework. It was to make a fun deck, exploring a card that you suspect is fun, but you don't really have a lot of experience with, whether that's all time or recently. Yeah, that's allowable also. I will talk about my deck. The first thing I tried, what was it? The first thing I tried flopped so hard. Let's see. I made a deck full of like the fun cards that I was considering. Oh, the first thing I tried was Cerebro 7 with Bucky, Deathstrike, and Cerebro. They were 3 of my cards that I was like, I haven't played with these very much. They seem kind of fun. I also tried a Warpath and Namor deck where it was like, oh, if I have Warpath out, they're expecting me to leave this lane empty. And then suddenly at the very end, I can throw out 11 power. And it was like, it was kind of interesting, but it's not good enough. It's not real. What I ended up with did use Bucky and Deathstrike. And it's a Ravonna deck. And let me read it off. So yeah, Bucky and Deathstrike were my cards where I was like, these both seem fun, and I have not used them hardly at all. Especially Bucky since getting the 2/7, but I haven't played 2/6 Winter Soldier much either. So this deck, it has Carnage and Deathstrike both as ways to destroy cards. It has Nova, Bucky Barnes. Oh, it also has a Tuma as another way to destroy cards. And then it has Nova and Bucky Barnes as the cards you want to destroy. And then the rest of the deck is Ravonna, a little Ravonna package. Ravonna, both Goblins, Iron Man Mystique, Mr. Fantastic, and Moonstone. This deck was... Basically, if I got Moonstone on Ravonna, this deck was busted, and otherwise it was just okay. But it was very fun. It was fun to explore. People did not know what to expect. Deathstrike did a lot of damage. Deathstrike on top of Bucky Barnes is 14 power. Like, we like that. Atuma was a little unwieldy. Like, you can throw Nova there, like, recklessly, but you have to be careful about putting Bucky there because Atuma will also kill Winter Soldier. But, like, if Bucky's the only card there on the last turn, that's a 6/17. Don't hate that.
I do think I think Bucky is underutilized and non-destroy. For so long, it's just like, oh, Bucky is just for destroy decks. But it's like, that's where you need to look at him. Like, what fun, unexpected stuff can you do with, like, Lady Deathstrike and stuff? Because it is a good amount of power. It's just like, it just doesn't really belong in destroy proper anymore, it feels like.
The other thing that Bucky is very fun for is all the destroy locations.
Yeah, that's always a fun feeling.
Altar of Death and Death's Domain and Rickety Bridge. He's very fun in all those locations.
And unlike, I am an apologist for X23 and stuff. So, like, when I like to, throw X23 onto those locations, but you don't control where she regenerates. But, like, with Winter Soldier, you can actually guarantee that, like, nope, I'm holding it down on this lane. Leaving nothing to chance. And I like leaving nothing to chance when possible.
Yeah, and him being a 2 cost is also, like, super affordable. So you can save, when there is a destroy location, you can just save him for the last turn. They don't think you're going to swing that location, and then you do. So anyway, this challenge I thought was fun. It turned out to be harder than I thought, and there were fewer cards that I went through the entire collection and then I put like 11 or 12 cards in my these might be my secret homework cards.
Right.
Okay. Reassigns next week's homework. So Ben, let's hear what you did this week. It's been alluded to multiple times already.
Yeah.
It's true. All right, so I'm only going to talk about one deck, but I actually made 2 secret homework decks that were pretty interesting. If you want to know about my Marvel Boy deck, I'm going to say you got to come on over to the Snap on This Discord part of the Snap Judgments League Discord server thing. So if you haven't yet found your way to our little Discord hidey hole, you should do so. Find out about this very spicy deck. It's got Elektra in it. It's got Marvel Boy in it. It's got what's another really interesting card that's gonna fucking freak your bean? Luna Snow, Echo. Those are some cards in the secret homework deck.
That sounds very fun.
This more public secret homework deck that I got to test a little more. The premise of this one, I was inspired. You know, I'm always talking about these different kinds of Heimdall decks. There's more than one kind of Heimdall deck. One of my favorites is a Werewolf by Night style of Heimdall deck where you play a lot of on reveals. But I was like, hey, what if we turned it around, didn't do any on reveals? There are 2 on reveals in this Heimdall deck, and they are both 6 cost. They are Heimdall and Magneto. But the rest of this juicy move deck is all ongoing and activate and just passive triggered abilities and stuff. And so, how it works? We got Aranya. That's the only 1-drop. No Iron Fist, no Ghost Spider, no Nico, no nothing. Then here's where it gets spicy. This is where I start talking about cards that I never play. Madame Web, if you prefer. I know that a lot of people think that she is synonymous with the entire move, synergy, archetype, mechanic, everything. You'd think surely Ben plays Madame Web. Hell no. Barely even once. For weekend missions. That's the last time I played Madame Web. But she's in this deck. She does great work. She is one of the unplayed cards that is the focus of the assignment. The next card on the list is Dagger. Dagger's fine. Not the powerhouse that she was. I have to say, the last time Dagger was exactly like this, a 2/2 that got +2, she did feel better. It was a relatively stronger card. Dagger is in a diminished form these days, but she's still quite playable.
She's feeling the power creep, huh?
Yes, she is feeling the power creep. That's a very good way to put it. But she's still all right. There's still enough room for belief. The next card, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, the new kid. Yeah, we invited him. I believe he's the weak link. This deck is probably better if I switch him out. And so I might do that. I might test a new version of this secret homework deck just for shits and giggles next week. But so I've already described 2 targets for Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. There is a 3rd target in this deck. It is Cull Obsidian. And also Craven's in the deck. Sort of ubiquitous, obvious. I'm going to play Craven in a Heimdall deck. Come on. Also, I've heard some discussion do you play Craven in a Madame Web deck? And I do. I don't know about y'all. But then we got Captain America. I accidentally took Magneto out of this deck, and that's going to drive me nuts. So I got to put Magneto back in. Okay. But that's not great radio. So Captain America, Sam Wilson. He's got that little shield. It moves around. Somebody in our YouTube comments for last week's episode pointed out that Sam Wilson, Captain America, has Heimdall synergy. So I had to do it. Thank you for the tip, Voltron Pilot.
Nice.
That is
if they both are at the same location and move?
Yep. If they move together, cool. You get an extra proc on Sam. Also, it sometimes works out where, you can also sometimes get an extra proc, even if they aren't together. If they're in the same spot on turn 5, you move the shield away, and then it can slide back onto Sam depending on where it. So like, there's more than one way to just eke out a little extra value with Heimdall under different circumstances with Sam Wilson. So that's cool. But here's the second of the cards that I never play that's up in this deck. Cosmo. That's right. The good boy, the good dog. The enemy of on reveals everywhere, and I'm very team on reveal usually, but I'm team on going in this deck, and Cosmo has been great fun, just shutting things down. I have a lot of experience having my day ruined by Cosmo, and oddly enough, I feel like this is translated into an ability to, I'm pretty good at reading where Cosmo belongs when. And, I love moving him with Madam Web, doing all the stuff that I've seen all these other move players do. This deck was very much inspired by our friend Thursday, and in a great coincidence, the one time I accidentally played this deck on ladder, I'd mostly been testing it in PGs and Silvers and Conquest. I played it on ladder. Sure enough, I queued into Thursday, and
that's so funny.
Yeah, it was very funny. And I was
Thursday also playing a move deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
playing all of these Thursday ass cards that I never play. Like, the only way I could have made this more of a Thursday deck is if I'd had like Human Torch and Doctor Strange and Cloak in it. Although I don't think Thursday's been playing Cloak lately, but he did play Doctor Strange in the game that I was playing, and I was like, man, I should have remembered Doctor Strange. But he's an on-reveal, would have betrayed the entire concept. So after Cosmo, got Vulture, because you need something to get big, because Dagger, oh man, you need a full lane to get more out of a Dagger move than a Vulture move now. And that hurts. But yeah, Vulture, still Vulture. So that's cool. Then we got Hope Summers. That's right. There's a little bit of an acceleration angle here. We're playing a lot of big cards. How are we going to pay for all these things we've drawn with Thaddeus Ross? And then here it is, Cull Obsidian, because we're doing Sam Wilson. So like, you might as well play Cull Obsidian, right? Especially if you're testing out Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, killing 1 million birds with one deck building stone. And then after Cull Obsidian, it's just Heimdall and Magneto, who I already mentioned, the 2 on reveals. So I was really trying to accomplish a lot of things with this deck, and it mostly worked. I had a pretty good success rate in Silvers and Proving Grounds. I didn't try too many golds. I didn't win any full golds, but that doesn't mean this deck couldn't. And I think it'll be better once I switch out Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross for something a little more proactive and that contributes a little harder.
Oh, you understood the assignment. You were worried last about not being able to, but I think you crushed it. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
A. Wow, all those cards you never play.
But yeah, join our Discord if you wanna know about my Marvel Boy deck with Electra.
Who are the cards in there? Are those the 2 that were the fun test cards?
I'm playing a lot of weird cards that I don't play a lot of places in that deck. I'm playing Eliath. I'm playing Marvel Boy. I'm playing Electra. I'm playing Echo.
And don't give it all away.
Okay. That's all you need to know.
Okay. All right, Ree. Let's hear it.
Okay. Lesser curve for me. I only played with like one card I was kind of unfamiliar with, but for inspiration, I looked at my least upgradable cards or something. I don't know. Lasher was there, and I was like, oh, Lasher, because we kind of all forgot about him. But, seems fun. Goes with Galacta, which is what I played him for weekends. So, and I didn't, so I stuck him in, okay, I always have an America Okoye Nakia deck put together at any point in time. Because I love cards.
Cards are so much better than the other one.
No, they're a gang. They all go together. They're an entourage. Okay, so I put it in this deck because Lasher is a card you want to buff, and I put it. This is actually not my own deck. Usually I'd been running my own, but I found one by Ika that was super fun and followed the rules of having all 3 of those cards. And I put him in for Sebastian Shaw, who was in the deck and is just always good to be buffed up a lot, but could get awkward. He's the card that you wouldn't play because, like, you know, you'd probably be playing like a Captain Marvel with like Mr. Sinister on turn 6. So I'm like, Shaw is the card that can go because this deck also has Zabu. I didn't want to get rid of any of my 4-cost synergy cards. Which, you know, because Galacta's in here, obviously Gwenpool. There's no cards above 4 in this deck. It's Gwenpool, Galacta, and Scarlet Spider and Captain Marvel for your Zabu synergy. And then everything else wants to buff or be buffed. And that is, Agony still has great synergy with Lasher, so it's really good replacement. What I love about Agony with Galacta is how you can placeholder that power to put onto Scarlet Spider next turn. Like, a lot of times sometimes I'll even just play out Agony early, and then I just won't play that in that lane again. Just be like, I'll just wait till I can play the Scarlet Spider or draw or whatever. Anyway, so that's what I played with. The other cards in the deck that have been unmentioned are Grandmaster. Just Grandmaster. Because, like, I don't know. Grandmaster's fun. I love doubling up on stuff. It's probably a card that could go for a similar card. But, you know, it was indeed fun. Still kind of a similar slight issue where, like, you know, you're playing Lasher on turn 6. You're not getting to do anything with him. But I thought he was a great sub for Shaw in this deck. And, like, you know, occasionally it's very big, and it's really fun to hit like an Iron Man or whatever with a really huge Lasher. You know,
I think him for Shaw is really interesting because Shaw is always +2, but Lasher is ×2 for any buffs you give him.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Lasher's better for big buffs like Galactus.
Yep, better for a Galacta buff, worse for an Aranya buff.
Yeah,
I know. I felt very proud. I looked at this deck. I'm like, that's the perfect sub. I'm not even like putting in a lesser card. And Shaw is so awkward to play. Like I said, with this deck, I did mention there's a Mr. Sinister in it, right? So a lot of times, you know, if you got a Zabu off, sometimes you could play Shaw in something else. But anyway, yeah, okay. So that was my deck. The new homework. The new homework is inspired this week by Marvel Champions, which I played at my board game retreat. As I mentioned, I played mini decks, but also my Nebula deck. And the thing about Champions is it has such great theme because, like, you play a character card and it has an alias side and a hero side that you flip between that has unique powers. And then it comes with a deck that is required to be played with a character that's small, and then you deck build. From different kind of archetypes. And cards can have allies, right? You're mostly beefing up your character, but you can summon in other characters to help you, and they're very cost. And your deck also comes with like a nemesis deck. So it's a co-op game, and the enemy cards can require you to pull out your nemesis and add it to the deck. And a great thematic thing about Nebula is that Gamora is an ally of Nebula's and also her nemesis.
That's cool.
So if your nemesis gets called in play, you have to discard your Gamora ally. It happened to me. It was such a nightmare. I'm like, I can't play Gamora anymore because it's just always such the whole game we were joking about, like, Nebula and Gamora, like, fighting. So, thinking of making a Marvel Snap more thematic and not duplicating past challenges, I was thinking, why don't you come up with an imbalance patch that, you know, is a thing? Because, like, that's how we had, like, an X-Men theme. You know, we got some cards to be synergistic that weren't before. So that is what I want. Come up with a thematic imbalance patch to tie some cards together. There you have it.
Great.
I like it.
That sounds like
I've
a lot
already
of fun.
got some thoughts, yeah.
I have none. But I will get there.
Honestly, me neither yet.
You know, it's okay. Open-ended is great. And that's a great idea for homework that we have not touched yet. If you like what you heard, like, comment, subscribe, follow, get on the Discord, etc. If you want to try to figure out how to do that, we would love to have you there. It's just a little tricky, but there are instructions in the show notes or the video description. By the way, if you're not watching this on YouTube, we're there. And if you're not listening to this in your podcast player, we're there. Not that you have to listen to it in both places, but like whatever suits you.
But you could.
We're there.
For what it's worth, I only watch in one place. We're part of the Snap Judgments Network, where you can listen to other great shows like Snap Judgments, our grand pod with Pulse Glazer and Roy on Saturdays, where they talk to, various members of the Snap community. So next week, we're going to talk about Redwing, see if we like him, see if we can figure out something cool to do with him. And if you want to see if we did, you should tune in. Same Snap time, same Snap channel.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right, Ben. What are your thoughts about humans transforming into animals lately?
New ones? I don't know. Let's see. What are some good thoughts? You know what I've been looking to work in the conversation? The Blade ship. There's a villain in Animorphs, and he's got a signature spaceship, and it's called the Blade ship.
That sounds cool.
The villain, I'm of course speaking of Visser 3, the most famous Animorphs villain, clearly. I mean, you got some other Vissers in the mix, but like, the real Dio Brando of the whole mythology is definitely Visser 3, at least in my reading. So that's my extremely forced
Thank you.
little nugget of Animorph knowledge.
You're welcome, by the way.
I'm like so hungry right now. I gotta try and eat dinner.
We'll let you go, but can I hear just like a super brief version about how your organ retreat went?
Oh, it was. Okay. The cabin. Okay, so it was a really great place, except for like this is the people's like hunter's trophy room, and as you can imagine, as a vegetarian, I'm not a huge fan of hunting at all. Covered. No wall was not covered in deer heads. They counted it up. There was like 47.
Oh man,
and like
that's
the
how my
whole
uncle's house is.
There was a giant stuffed bear. You had to kind of like get around to get into the bathroom. There's 2 like giant half deers on pillars everywhere I went. And like sometimes when you're a little fucked up and there's a bunch of dead animals staring at you, it's terrifying. Random skulls everywhere. It was like, who are these people? We invented a thing where it was like this was really a cult, and every deer head was actually like a every time a sacrifice was made in the cult, a new deer head appeared in the cabin. So it was a great time. We played a lot of board games. I had fun.